A few minutes. We still have some folks trickling in from the outside. Thank you for being here and braving the elements for sure. So we'll start hopefully in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Do we have a way?
No,
Did we want to? We don't?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do both. All right.
They're all the same, so just grab whatever. And then you can have a seat inside. Yeah, there you go.
They didn't say anything, they just said come.
Yeah. At least they were listening. They know there's a form.
Mike's on.
I move around a lot, so.
That's why I'm here.
All right. Good. I think this will. Tell me when. All right. All right, well, welcome again. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Bianchi, the principal of this great high school. It's my third year as principal here. I want to extend a welcome to everybody, but especially our 8th grade families, which predominates our attendance on this evening, our annual course selection night. It's an exciting time. By show of hands, who is here representing an 8th grader? All right, it is everybody almost. So that's good. We've got a good evening for you, maybe 45 minutes or so of an auditorium program, largely informational. We're going to try to emphasize a few things because there is a lot coming at you, especially if this is the first time for you here in our high school. Because of that, and because of schedules and life gets busy, we have started to record these evening events, and we will archive them as well, because we know seeing this information once can be difficult to absorb. So that is one resource for you to go back and to listen to it again. And there will be numerous opportunities over these next couple of weeks and the next couple of months as we really try to craft the most advantageous schedule for your sons and for your daughters. Special shout out to Lucas Schaefer in the back. He is recording live. He is really spearheading singularly as a 12th grade student a lot of what we are doing in our EP Media program. For example, we just obtained a mobile recording kit, and perhaps you've seen some of the sporting events that we've been broadcasting on YouTube. And we have our very own teachers and sometimes students or even former graduates doing the play-by-play or the color commentary, and really evidence of a group effort of so much that goes on in this high school. So specific thank you to Lucas. At this time, I'll turn the mic over to Mr. Peck. Mr. Peck is one of our 2 assistant principals. And I guess, Lucas, you'll have to remind me, I need to hold up both microphones, right? All right, so we'll try to make that seamless.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to say welcome. My name is Dan Peck. I'm one of the 2 assistant principals here at the high school. This year I have the 9th and the 11th grade under my supervision. And Mr. Locker, our other assistant principal, new this year, has grades 10 and 12, and then we will follow those grade levels. So, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to see me. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Peck. Assistant principals serve vital roles in a high school, jack of all trades. So Mr. Peck is a tremendous resource. One of Mr. Peck's ploys to students and to parents, Mr. Peck, is to get involved, right? Especially early and often in high school. We also want to pay special attention to incoming 9th graders. That transition, that year, those first few weeks, first few days, first few weeks, definitely first few months are crucial and critical. And coming into a big high school can seem daunting. And we want to make sure students are off on the right foot. So of all the things that we could talk about and even boast about, proud of a lot of what we do here and always trying to get better and work on things, that 9th grade transition is one of the most crucial of all of our efforts. I'm going to add a device here, so I'm going to hold 3 as I transition slides. All right. That was supposed to be a magic trick. I was going to take you somewhere. I'm going to walk all the way back. Okay, there we go. Back to the future. $2065. Picture 2065. That is far, far into the future. About 40 years into the future, which means our high school students, let's say you're 15 years old, you'll be in your mid-50s in 2065. You'll be towards the end of your professional life and your working career, maybe even becoming grandparents. I'm talking about our high school students now. What is that world going to be like? These are the questions we ask ourselves. And while we can't define them, we have a responsibility to think about it. So, Mr. Bolin, so I asked our friend ChatGPT. Everybody else does, so I figured I would too. So take this with a grain of salt and don't agree or disagree with it, but think a little bit with me. What is the workforce going to be like? Well, perhaps, well, definitely, it's going to be more automated. It's going to be more global. Work is going to be more flexible, more skills driven. And so we need to focus on the human strengths of how our students can be employable competitively in that type of market. There we go. So number one, this merging of humans and technology. Career paths will be more fluid. That compared to generations gone by, less and less people enter a field or an industry and stay in it for the rest of their days. That's what fluid really means. What does that imply for schools? Well, maybe we need to teach and work with our students about how to learn and give them a skill set to be resourceful more than tailor their path for one specific path or industry. And there's a lot that we do here in this high school, but preparing students for work, for the workforce, for development, for higher education is one of the primary roles that we have. We're a learning institution. We have to be aware, as school officials, more than any school officials have had in the past, to be aware of economic trends. We owe it to our students and our families and our community that our students will populate. So what will those areas of growth and decline be like? Locally, regionally, globally. How that work gets done, touched upon this a little bit. And much of this is happening already. It happens in stages. But more and more remote work, flexible hours. That word flexibility, we need to tease out as a school a little bit. It's on the tip of everybody's tongue. Not just high school students, but students pursuing higher ed, people pursuing work and jobs. They want flexible hours, flexible arrangements to account for family life, sudden happenings. So we need to tease out what people want and mean by flexibility. Working on regional and global teams. And maybe not having one career, one job, but a series of them. These soft skills, which schools have tried to foster for generations, they will never go out of style, but the ability to communicate and emphasizing, face-to-face communication, in-person communication, which is waning among all of us probably. How to collaborate, how to work with different people, being adaptive. It's pretty interesting stuff. So what are we doing here? Well, of course, in the short term, the acute reason we are here is to talk about how to pick courses for next year. And if you're here representing an 8th grader, those options are a little bit more locked in. And of course, as we go on throughout high school, those options become more plentiful. One of our priorities, especially by junior year, especially senior year, we need to get students out into the field. That the bygone era of you have a full schedule over 4 years is maybe going by the wayside a little bit. What I mean by that, we want students in internships. We want students in cooperative learning opportunities. If a student plans to go to college, we want them leaving here with an appropriate number of college credits at a reduced rate because the cost of that education just continues to increase. So we owe it to our students and to you all to consider and develop these things. Therefore, we ask ourselves a series of questions almost every day. What do our students need to know, understand, be able to do, and be like when they graduate here? And what is the world that they are entering going to require of them? That's pretty cool. So we shape everything in a framework. I feel like if I go too much into this, that'll really go over your head if I haven't already. But I suppose the point is trying to approach all of this in a very systemized way in terms of our overall program. Then in terms of the classroom experience, the curriculum and the instruction and assessment, we have great teachers, supportive teachers, really dedicate their lives to spending time with your sons and daughters. When students need a little bit more intervention or enrichment opportunities, and also those interpersonal dispositions, citizenship habits, and the like, and how we all make that work together. So before I turn it over, the acute reason here, of course, is course selection. We're in the middle of a course selection season, we dub it, of about 2 to 3 weeks. What you should leave here tonight is a feeling of that we're trying to really gin up excitement for this process, that it's not just a routine process of selecting courses for next year, really thinking early and often about what our students want out of their high school experience and then beyond. To imagine possibilities. We could always foster more communication among home and school, really trying to emphasize that more and more through different mediums. For example, using EP Media at our disposal. And in these couple weeks, we really want to have a robust approach to working with you, to you and your students working with their teachers in making appropriate decisions. And you'll hear all about the details of this from our great counselors. But this is just some big picture stuff before we get started. The resources that you will use include course selection sheets. A few years ago, we went back to paper pencil, something tactile and tangible. I see one right here, blue. That's what the 8th graders got, blue paper. All right, that looks good. And we have found that that is a good mechanism to foster conversation among teachers and students, students and parents, home and school. And so we've continued that approach. Number 2, we have turned our manual, our course selection guide, our program of studies manual into a website. Thanks to our counselors, they do great work. Really fortunate to have great counselors here at this high school and the middle school too. And that interactive site with some multimedia is a place for you to go and to peruse and to find the information that you need to make good decisions. Tonight is an example of communicating this course selection night format. We'll have representatives of our academic department after this program is over. And we also have several of our partners from business and industry, the military, and higher ed out in the lobby for you to have conversations with. Once all of that is over, at the end of February, early March, we'll go through a verification process. We'll make sure students are signed up for the right courses, the courses that they want and that are most appropriate. We'll reach out to you as well for you to weigh in on that verification, and then we will start to assemble next year's puzzle of a master schedule. And when we do that, I don't want to say we are locked in 100% of what you chose in January, but to a good extent, we build the schedule, we allot resources, teachers, classroom space, based on our students' decisions, especially in the elective program, and there are a lot of variables there, so we do have to honor the process that we're going through right now, which is a big reason for these emphases tonight. So it's great to see you. Lucas, in a few minutes, maybe I'll ask you how many people are logged in live. Do you have that right now? I'm curious. Who would say under 20? I don't know why I chose 20. You think 200? Lower? Well, that's because it's new. How many?
It was fluctuating around 15 maybe.
All right. Hey, that's 15 people that may not have otherwise been able to see this, I consider that a victory. So without further ado, I'll hand it over here to Mrs. Zeller, Christina Zeller, one of our counselors.
Thank you.
There you go.
Got to juggle now. Oh, thank you. One less thing to juggle is always good. See if I can. No, can't do it. Okay. So I'm Christina Zeller. I'm one of the school counselors here at the high school. I cover students with the last names G through O, so the middle of the alphabet. And I'll do the introductions for the other counselors here in the next slide. But for sake of our first slide, sorry, this is just some takeaways of what we hope that you will gain from this evening. So, we want you to be able to know, what do your students require to graduate? What can get them out of high school? Also, the course descriptions, that's very beneficial to knowing what courses students will need to take and what they're expecting when they're enrolled in those courses. And then the career pathway maps. And of course, very highlighted on this particular slide is our interactive program of studies, which Dr. Bianchi talked about. And this is a nice QR code that you can check that out, and it's also on your handout sheet, I believe. So back to introductions. Like I said, I'm Christina Zeller, and then my co-counselors here, this is Hillary Miller. She covers last names A through F, and any students that would be enrolled in our CTC program. So that stands for Career and Technical Center program. Perhaps when you were in school, it was called VOTEC, but the formal name now is CTC. Then we also have Mark Bolin, Mr. Bolin. He covers last names P through Z, so the last part of the alphabet. And then we also have Emily Bear, Miss Bear, which probably all of you are familiar with since most of you are rising ninth graders. And she's our 8th grade counselor, which she does a fantastic job collaborating with us, especially in this particular process. And then someone that's not here but is on the slide is Mrs. Lonis. She's our counseling office secretary at the high school. And she's a wonderful wealth of knowledge in addition to us. And she's just a genuinely friendly face that your students will see once they come to our school. She greets students as they enter the counseling office and can, triage whatever their concerns or questions may be. So the fundamentals of course selection, I wanted to start at the very beginning. This is just a sample of what you can see in our program of studies in terms of a class description. So in the red box is the course number. So for this sake, it's 1900, and the course title is Fundamentals of Engineering Technology, as you can see. Then if we look below that, in the orange box is the credit that will be attributed to that course. So this is a half-credit course, and the duration. This is a semester-based course. In the green box designates what type of course. So this is not a required course, it's an elective that your student can choose to take. And it falls under the pathway of EIT, or Engineering and Informational Technology pathway. So if your student was interested in that type of pathway, this might be a good course for them to consider. In the purple box, you'll see what grade levels this is appropriate for. This happens to be across the board available for all 9th through 12th graders. So it's a mixed cohort of students that might be placed in this class. Below that in the blue box, this particular course does not require a prerequisite. A prerequisite is something that, like another course that you would have to take before a course, or perhaps a certain grade you would have to get in a particular class to be eligible to take this class, or a teacher recommendation. That would be listed as a prerequisite, but in this case there isn't any. And then in the large box at the bottom, the pinkish purplish box, that is the course description. This is probably the most important thing on this page that your student would want to read through to know if this is a course that's suitable for them, and to really take in, okay, what am I expecting to do in this class, to see if it would be a good fit. This next slide covers, in general, our levels of rigor. So starting at the bottom, core courses, so those in English, math, science, and history, they're leveled. So they're leveled as general level, academic level, or honors or AP level. Starting with general level, that is kind of like what it sounds like. It's an applied level class. It's more suitable for students that might require some more teacher support in the classroom, more maybe group work in the classroom, I would say less independent work outside of the class, like less projects, less independent work, less homework in a way. A lot of the structure of the class is it's in the classroom with the teacher as a main support. The academic level is what we would then qualify as more of like a college preparatory class. And that also will become very important for you to know if your student in the future wants to be involved in a college like collegiate like athlete, because NCAA only accepts academic and above level courses. So again, academic is more college preparatory, and it would be more like there's still teacher support in the classroom, of course, but then outside of the classroom, your student would probably have daily homework, more independent work to have to complete, more responsibility. And then as we go up another tier, the honors and the advanced placement or AP level coursework is just that much more rigorous and independent, I would say. Those courses even oftentimes have a summer component where they have to do summer work. So if your student, since most of you have rising ninth graders, if your student, for example, chooses to take an American History honors class for next year, oftentimes those students have to read a book over the summer and they have summer work that they have to do. So that's something that you'll want to take note of, because going into the class then in the school year when it starts, that first marking period grade is going to be very influenced by what the summer work was and your student's completion of that summer work. So those are just some things to note. But I don't want to scare you away from an honors or AP class, because those are also going to be the most challenging. And if your student is going to go into college, they're probably going to be the most preparatory for that level. This next slide is just a snapshot of what are the requirements for high school. So as you can see, everything on the left-hand side are our subject areas, and then on the right-hand side are the required number of credits per subject area. So every year a student is required to take an English course, and then you can go down the line. When you get to social studies, it's important to note, and this isn't till like their junior or senior year, but American government is a required class within social studies, so that would be part of that 3 credits. They just would have to take that class exactly, that or a civics class. And as you go down the line, the computer elective course, this is also something new for your students that are rising freshmen. For their class and below, there's no longer a computer elective requirement as there have been for the previous students, but the computer electives are still offered here at the high school. They're just no longer a requirement. So in summary, across the board, a student is required to complete at least 25 credits comprised of these subject areas in this number of credits. This next chart is something I think that's referenced on your handouts as one of the QR codes, but this is just a summary of the different pathway maps that we have available. So we've mapped it out to consider like 5 different pathways of where our courses fall into. So on the very far left, it's engineering and industrial technology, like I referenced in my first example with that fundamentals of engineering technology course that would fall under that pathway cluster. There's also other pathway clusters like the science and health services field, arts and communications, business and computer science, as well as human services. So when you go into the course descriptions in the program of studies, you will see that each course has a pathway cluster that it would fall under that umbrella. And then moving across the chart, you can see too in the far right, the programs at our CTC program that would align with those pathway clusters as well. This next chart dives more into that particular pathway cluster of the engineering and industrial technology. And this is, I would say these are probably the most helpful resources in terms of if your student has a general field of interest, look into these and then see what courses we're recommending. We've done the work for you in a way to align what courses we offer here and what they should take year by year and how they align with these different pathways. And furthermore, if your student even knows beyond that, oh, I'm specifically, for sake of this slide, interested in the engineering pathway, you can see specifically what classes would align with that one. Or if they're more interested in the industrial technology pathway, what courses would align with that pathway by grade level. And then next, I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Miller to talk about our CTC program.
Hi everyone, I'm Hilary Miller. I was introduced earlier. I'm one of the school counselors here. This is my 12th year here. Mrs. Zeller is the most senior counselor of all of us. She's been here a little bit longer than that, which says a lot about what we think about this school. This is a wonderful high school, great school district. We're super excited to have all of you come up with us next year. Can you raise your hand if you have a current 9th, 10th, or 11th grader? Okay, just a couple. Okay, that will help me as I go over some slides. I don't want to not cover something that might be important to you as well. So for the most of you in the room, rising 9th graders, we're super excited to have you. As Dr. Bianchi mentioned, school was very different than it was when lots of us adults in the room were in school. So we're trying to keep up with the times and offer opportunities for students who may or may not know what they want to do after high school, and kind of build in that ability while you're still a student to go out into the workforce, or maybe you get an internship, maybe you attend CTC to really help figure out what you might want to do after high school. Miss Bear took all of the current 8th graders in the fall to CTC to take a tour of the various programs there. I'm the counselor here that works with our current students in high school who attend CTC. Part of the transition to 9th grade will be in the fall again of next school year. One of the counselors from CTC will come in again and speak to all of the 9th graders right around like the middle of fall when their online application opens to kind of hopefully get some more interested students in attending there. We do have a partnership with CTC where our students are here for half of the day, and then they spend half of their day at CTC. And the agreement that we currently have is our CTC teaches their specific program area and then history class. So for those of you interested in 9th grade next year, you'll apply, and most of the programs, they have 23 different programs. Most of them are 3 years in length, and that doesn't mean that you can't attend a 3-year program for maybe only your junior and senior years, but to get the most out of the program, students typically apply in 9th grade, and then they would spend 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in their particular program area. Admissions is based on grades, attendance, an interview, and teacher recommendations. So sometimes students can get a little hung up on like, well, I'm not the best student academically, maybe it's not a good fit for me. And I would say there's a lot more that goes into the whole application process than just what we see on paper. Attendance, though, is super important. So for those rising 9th graders, if you're really interested in CTC, it's important that you come to school every day and get the most out of your time here. Something else, students at CTC in their specific program areas can earn industry recognized credentials, which is a big thing now. And also, depending on the program, CTC has partnerships with different schools like Messiah and Hack for some dual enrollment classes where students would be taking courses in the building and also at the college level and receiving credit for that. It's not too late for those couple of you in the building. If you have a current 9th, 10th, or 11th grader, there's a second round application deadline. That's February 20th next month. So, but for most of you in the room, your student would apply in the fall next school year. So course selection, 8th to 9th grade. This is probably an important slide. Ms. Bear has done a really nice job instructing all of your students, or most of you in here, about the required courses needed. So on that blue sheet, you'll see all of you will take an English, a history class. If you're in the honors track for science, those of you in the room, current 8th graders, rising 9th graders, would take honors biology. And then a math, depending on if you're in pre-algebra right now in 8th grade, or maybe you're taking Algebra 1, that would determine the math sequence for next year. And then like Mrs. Zeller mentioned, the only required course is a gym and a health class, which students will take every year with us. So because we don't require a computer class anymore, students have a lot more flexibility to maybe take an elective that interests them. 9th to 10th grade, again, English 2, 4 years of English like Mrs. Zeller mentioned, and then you'll see right down the line there. So if a student in 9th grade took earth science, maybe they were the academic level, they would then take biology in 10th grade versus honors biology in 9th grade. And just to piggyback off of Mrs. Zeller, you know, the transition from 8th to 9th grade is super important, and it's something that we here at the high school really, it's important to us, and we want to make sure that we prepare you the best that we possibly can. Part of some of the things we do to help with that, in the spring we will do an 8th grade visit where the current 8th graders will come up with Miss Bear and visit the high school. They'll hear a spiel from us counselors again. They'll walk around the building and see some of the classrooms. And then again, likely on the first day of school, we have a program called Link Crew. I don't know if anyone in the audience here have ever heard of Link Crew. Oh my goodness, maybe one. Okay, so it's a new program we started just this current school year. And it's a program designed to help connect underclassmen and rising 9th graders with upperclassmen to help kind of ease the transition to high school. It's kind of a mentorship program. It helps, you know, just with that transition to high school. So that'll be something really cool. It's likely on the first day of school that school will look very different for rising 9th graders on the first day of school compared to the upperclassmen. So hopefully your students will come home and tell you all the fun they had on the first day of school. I'm one of the Link Crew coordinators for our school, so if you have any questions after this program about that, I can let you know. I got off track. Okay, required courses there. Again, I don't have to go through every single one of them, but you'll see in 10th grade, these are the required courses. 10th to 11th, this is really, you know, in 11th grade is really when the opportunities really start to blossom for students. Like I said, we're trying to align our offerings with the way of the world right now. So you'll see up there, we have classes in 11th grade that we partner with like college and the high school classes where your students will be taking a course in the high school taught by our high school teachers, but it's the college level kind of curriculum for that class. So a student will be in class and receiving college credit for the class. We also have dual enrollment classes where students, maybe they attend a class online through HACC and they receive credit for the course both in the high school and at HACC. So that's another cool thing that happens typically in 11th grade. You'll see the sequence there. We also have AP English in 11th grade for students interested in AP course. So an advanced placement course, that's a course where if a student takes the class, they can take the AP exam, and if they score a certain numeric on that AP exam, most colleges accept those AP credits then as a college credit for a college course taken in high school. And then science and math really starts to become really subject to whatever the student took the previous 2 years. But again, we require 3 credits of science and 3 credits of math as well. And then also on the slide, again, as Dr. Bianchi mentioned, aligning our opportunities with the way of the world, we have professional internships. So maybe your student is interested in becoming a dental hygienist. They could potentially work with our internship coordinator here, and maybe they go shadow every 7th period every day, and they go to a dentist's office and they get credit for it at the high school level, and they get real world experience what it's like working in a dentist's office. So we have opportunities like that are growing for students, and you can start that your junior year. And then we also have work study, so maybe a student is working part-time somewhere and they really like it and they want to make money, maybe financially as a family. It's important for your student to make money and help out. We have students who are in that situation, so they come to school and then some of their elective credit space in the afternoon, they leave and they go to work and they get credit for it, and then they also get to collect a paycheck, which is also cool. And then I talked about dual enrollment. And then you'll see we have a bunch of different science electives, and when we release you at the end, as Dr. Bianchi mentioned, all of our departments will be represented, or most will be represented in the lobby, and you can go up to their table and they can talk to you a little bit more in depth about some of these offerings. And then finally, for our seniors, this is really kind kind of the cream of the crop opportunities. Students are required to take English 4. Again, we require those 4 years of English, but students can take our AP English literature class, or they could do a dual enrollment class or college in the high school. And then work study again, that is in junior year, you get up to 2 credits of work study. Your senior year, you can have up to 3 credits. So, 3 periods in the afternoon, maybe you leave and you go to work and you're getting a paycheck again and getting credit for it. And then something else, kind of to incentivize and to get students excited and open to these different opportunities, we have like an experiential learning component. So for students in CTC or students who take an AP class, or students, what am I missing? Dual enrollment. They take a dual enrollment class. They are offered the opportunity for 1 full credit of space in their schedule where they don't have to take a class. So in addition to that, seniors in good academic standing who qualify and who have sufficient credits to be on track to graduate with 25 credits also are offered the opportunity to do a senior privilege. So maybe every year, period 1, the student doesn't have to come in until period 2. So they have like a late arrival opportunity. So this is a really cool thing that started this year that we're kind of trying to grow and incentivize to help students get out and take advantage of their opportunities. There's also an emerging health professionals opportunity specifically for current juniors, rising seniors next year, where it's a partnership through Cumberland Ferry CTC, and students take an anatomy 1 and 2 class with either Messiah or HAC while they're a high school student, and they get college credit for that. So that's a specific program only open to current juniors who would apply for their senior year. We also similarly have a Penn State Holy Spirit internship opportunity for current juniors, rising seniors, where a student would apply for a program. It's pretty competitive, but students then would shadow different departments in the hospital and really get hands-on experience in different departments of the hospital to help solidify if they have an interest in the healthcare field. And then again, professional internship. We have an internship coordinator here at the high school whose job is to help connect students to various programs and internships out in the community. So we're growing that program. I'm really excited about it. And our hope is, what better way to find out what you want to do than really kind of step out into the workforce and start working and get some exposure. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bolin.
I'll leave it sitting there. Everybody, so like Mrs. Miller said, I'm Mr. Bolin. I'm everybody whose last name starts with P through Z. So if that's any of you guys, you can always come up and talk with me. I'd be happy to introduce myself. One of the most important things, I want to say most important things, but one of the biggest things that can throw a wrench into all of this is NCAA eligibility. And if nobody's familiar with the NCAA, they run all of or most of the college sports. So if you have a student who wants to be an athlete in college, one of the things that they're going to need to worry about is if they're NCAA eligibility. That means they have the right amount of credits with the right amount of grades in certain classes, right? So I run a program here at the high school that will go over kind of like what students' eligibility is, but it's also really important to have conversations with your 8th grade teachers, because I've had a couple of students over the last couple of years that have said, oh, I didn't take an English 1 academic in my 9th grade year. Well, that was decided for you by your teacher back in 8th grade in in February, and then you've sat on this for 4 years now, and you're trying to get to, I don't know, Temple, Penn State, and you just don't have the eligibility to play your first year. So that's one thing to really pay attention to, because if you have your conversation with your 8th grade teachers now and you want to play football, baseball, whatever, and you are worried about the eligibility for it, you're going to want to make sure that you're in academic classes or above every single year for all of your core classes, because that is a really important thing. I do have all of this up on the Program of Studies website if you're interested in going through this at a later date. The NCAA eligibility or NCAA informational page on the website is up there, and it has all of my resources that I put on there. So yeah, like I said, you're going to want to take academic honors or AP level courses. General levels do not count. And just make sure that you're aware of the GPA requirements. So the NCAA does have strict requirements, and they're not super high. I think because we base it off a 100 level GPA, I think it's like a 72 and 73 for the GPA requirements for your academic level classes. And they will hold you to that. So if you are underneath that GPA requirement, they're gonna make you a red shirt for the year. The next slide will be the college and the high school and the dual enrollment program. Is it up? So this is probably one of the things that was introduced in my first year, which was 3 years ago, which was the college and the high school, and the dual enrollment was already a thing, but the college and the high school really kind of grew itself in the last couple of years, and it's been fantastic. So for specific classes like AP Statistics, Statistics Academic, I know that can be a little confusing, but they're offered by two different universities, and they require different requirements for their classes. So the University of Pittsburgh and the Harrisburg University both offer dual credit for AP Statistics and Academic. AP Calculus is also through University of Pittsburgh. Physics, Psychology, and all those ones are the ones they offer in building. New this year would be AP Language and Composition, so it's the same AP class. If your student is a really bad test taker, or they feel like they're a really bad test taker, they always have the opportunity to grow. But if they feel like they're a really bad test taker and they just want to base their college credit off of the entire class, the full year, that I would suggest maybe taking the college and the high school version of the class. But if they also just really want to just take the AP test and get it out of the way, that's also an option too. But it's the same class, runs the same time period, has the same curriculum. You can just get it through Thaddeus Stevens. Dual enrollment, we have 5 partnership universities. So if a student wants to take, and a lot of it's going to be HACC, but if your student wants to take dual enrollment classes starting in 11th grade, they are welcome to replace any of their classes, core or elective, with something at the dual enrollment level. So they would just have to apply at HACC. We have one for Messiah, Central Penn College, Harrisburg University, and Shippensburg. One thing to remember for Messiah is that they do have some really cool programs. The teachers, the business and engineering preparation programs. So your student would take a couple of classes in business courses over their senior and junior year, and they would also they would just get to be a part of the Messiah community, as well as the Teachers for Tomorrow program is also really good. You can pair that with a teaching internship here at the high school, the middle school, elementary school, wherever you can find a space with our internship coordinator, and you would just be able to teach in the classroom while also getting some education courses under your belt. So something like education psychology, I think, is one of them that you have to take. Engineering, I saw that one like face-to-face, and they have a really good engineering program. So if you have a student who is interested in physics or anything engineering related, they would have a really good time at this program because of the labs there are just fantastic. And I don't want to sell them too much. The last thing would just be the scheduling 101. So like we said, we had the paper courses for this, we had paper course selection forms, so please don't lose them. If they require another one, I'm sure we can find them one, but it's really important that they keep the teacher signatures on there. We don't want them running back and forth to teachers on January 6th when they are due. Remember the number of credits. So it's not the number of classes, it's the number of credits. I had to walk the student through this today. You need to select 7 credits worth of classes. That could be anything from, you can have a whole schedule worth of 1 credit classes, but you can also have a schedule full of half credit classes. So please be careful of the number of credits. Again, that's 7. The half-year classes are going to be semester-based, and that's what you'll see up there. That's what the SEM stands for. That just means that it either starts in August and ends in January, or starts in January and ends in May. The full-year class runs for the full year. Teacher recommendations are really important. So we base, I think Dr. Bianchi and I think Mrs. Zeller had also talked about this before, we base a lot of the scheduling decisions, the master scheduling decisions, based off of teacher recommendations. So if a student really doesn't really, if a student is like really hesitant about going to honors, they should really talk with their teacher to make sure that they know that they're prepared for honors, because once they choose the class, there's probably not a whole lot of wiggle room for getting them out of there. And there should be a conversation with their teachers when they are talking and getting these recommendations. Prerequisites. So just making sure you have the prerequisites for something. We don't want to put you in physics and you haven't even finished Algebra 1 yet. So just be careful about that. There is a schedule change window in early August. We base that off of the students' requests and also the alternatives. So the alternatives are the alternative box on everybody's form. Please make sure you put a couple of classes that you might want to take if something doesn't fit on your schedule. We can try to have some wiggle room with some of those classes, but if you put it down as an alternative and it's on your schedule, I mean, we have to be able to pick off of those ones for what we're what we changed the schedule for. And again, the summer requirements, that always gets a couple of kids, especially with the honors history and the AP history classes. A lot of kids don't realize that there's some summer work components. It's probably not a whole ton, especially for adults. We can look back and say, oh my gosh, it's really not that much work to do, but I'm sure some kids get to the end of August and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't do any of this and I really want to get out of this class. Sorry, you're going to be in that class. Just make sure that they are aware that there might be some summer requirements and to contact the teacher. The teacher should also reach out to them when they are scheduling these classes to sign. Is there a contract anymore or no?
Yeah, for bio, there's a contract. For history, the teacher comes over and meets with the kids.
There you go. History comes over and they meet with you. In bio, there's a contract that you will just have to sign. So they will talk with you, but you also need to make sure that when you commit to taking an honors level class or an AP level class, there could be a summer requirement. So if you sign up for that in February and then by August you're like, never mind, I don't want to do that. Sorry, you're still going to have to take that class. Last thing would just be the timeline for course selection. So we've already kind of been through some of this. So the week of January 12th is when we started. The middle school students got their course selection forms on January 20th. So congratulations, you all got your form. And if you didn't get one, please come talk to us. We will get you another form. High school students got theirs last week. And then this week coming up will be the week to turn it in. So we have February 6th is when they just need to turn in their course selection forms. And then obviously tonight is the course selection night. So great, I'm glad you guys were able to get here. Again, we're going to say this one more time. Be sure to double check that you meet all of the prerequisites for the electives that require them. So if you sign up for it, we oftentimes will try to look at your academic history to make sure that you have met the requirements, and we'll probably flag it and chase you down to make sure you pick another elective. But sometimes they fall through the cracks. So also do your due diligence to make sure you're not signing up for a class that you do not meet the prerequisites for. And do you have any questions about that? Whether or not you do meet them, you can always come and talk to us. Okay, the last one would just be the copy of the course selection form. We don't expect you to be able to see all of the details from back there up there. But this is just what the 11th grade form looks like. It's very complicated. So the 9th grade form that a lot of you guys have is not nearly as complicated as this one. This one is 3 pages long. So it has a lot of tiny words on there, so you may want to get out some magnifying glasses and look at it. There's also the QR code on the sheets that you can download these. So if you want to look at them, you want to spread them, you want to look at them as a PDF and magnify the image, then be my guest, please. But yeah, so last thing, or our last couple of things would just be just the tools to help you. The school counselors are up here because we are here to help you guys. Teacher recommendations are the same thing. I mean, just talk with your teachers, make sure that you guys have an active dialogue with them, because we don't want them to recommend you for something and then you just kind of take it and leave. We want to make sure you're actually having a conversation with your teachers. It should be a give and take. Obviously, the parents are all important. That's why you guys are here. Obviously, talk with your students. Make sure that they have a plan going forward. Even a small plan of like, well, I want to take breads and pastries next year. Well, kiddo, you got to take intro to family consumer science first. So make sure, if they have a plan, you can help them out with that. The interactive program of studies, again, we're going to keep pushing this down. Everybody's thrust. The interactive program of studies is great. It has a lot of information on there. So if you just want to poke through it and just get used to using it, because it's probably not going to go away. We also have the grade level school counseling classroom. So we put up a lot of different posts about scholarships and any advertisements that we get from, I'm going to keep saying scholarships because it's the first word that comes to my brain, but anything else that we get for, opportunities, like the PSAT 10 I just posted on there, or like a practice SAT. We also post on there, but a lot of stuff. We consistently have students not check their emails, so please learn to check your emails. We really, really want you to look at that. In the career pathway map. So again, take a look at that. There's a bunch of careers that are listed on there. So if any of them sound interesting to you, follow those maps and really look at the electives that you should be taking, because it can really help, guide what classes you take as electives. And then out in the lobby, if we are all done, is going to be all of those or most of those departments. So if you have any questions at all about prerequisites or classes that you might want to take, and just, if you're interested in anything, go talk with some of these departments. They'll be happy to chat with you. And if you guys have any questions for us as the counselors, I guess we'll just be down here if you want to come hang out with us for a little bit. All right, thank you. I'm going to turn this off now. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Test.
Are you on?
Are we live, Lucas?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Peck, we are live on location. This is the second portion of our program this evening. I hope you enjoyed, if you were able to log in and watch the auditorium program, the informational session led by our great counselors. We would encourage you to watch that program again. There's a lot of information to digest. All of it is very important to differing degrees for different people or by grade level. Mr. Peck, we have great counselors here at East Pennsboro High School, and we appreciate working with them every day. They have many skill sets. The one that is undervalued is helping students prepare for their future. And we see that happen, especially this time of year. What do you have to say about our great counselors?
Oh, our counselors are here to answer questions, help students develop their pathway, whatever it may be, college, the workforce, trade school. So they're just a wealth of information, and they're always there willing to set up appointments with students throughout the day. So we're lucky to have them here. There's a lot of excitement here tonight. I can feel the energy in the room. So we'll look forward to having a lot of these incoming ninth graders next year.
Yeah, what's great is the vast majority of attendees on this night each year is our incoming high school students. So current 8th graders, we have a big responsibility relative to those 8th graders to usher them into high school. And we're really focusing more and more, as all high schools need to do, on that 9th grade transition program, which really starts in the middle of 8th grade.
Yeah, it sure does. They've been working hard. The Link crew has been working hard, preparing for the incoming ninth graders. The first day this year was pretty exciting. I know a lot of ninth graders went home and bragged about what their first day of school looked like at the high school.
Yep. So that was a great orientation feature. The Link crew is comprised of about 40 students, juniors and seniors, leaders in our school. We had 3 staff members trained who in turn trained those 40 students, and each subsequent year we will train more students really to foster leadership in our school and students working with students, mentoring them. That's a really powerful thing. If we go into the auditorium, what's neat is you still see several parents along with some students milling around, asking questions of their prospective counselors. Here at the high school, we divide our caseload, so to speak, among counselors by alphabet. Mrs. Miller has the top of the alphabet, Mrs. Zeller has the middle, and then Mr. Boland has the last third of the alphabet. We also try to have them specialize in particular areas to contribute to our school. For example, Mrs. Miller is the liaison on the counseling staff for the CTC and career-oriented features of our program. Mr. Boland is really the liaison for higher education. He spearheads endeavors like advanced placement, registration, and testing, among other things, dual enrollment program development. And then Mrs. Zeller really spearheads a lot of our mental health, student assistance program, and they all contribute to it all and so much more. But we try to streamline their responsibilities to be able to really organize our supports for our students. So if we venture, this is an experiment, by the way.
First year in education, 19 years.
The chance that we get cut off at any point. I don't know how far this is going to go with our people around.
Okay. Lucas says that we may get cut off. We've got some hardware set up in our lobby. As I said, this is a test venture. Lucas, are you holding the router, the Wi-Fi router, which connects to the camera?
Yeah, there's just a lot of people.
Okay.
It's being recorded too, so.
That's great. All right, well, if we walk about the lobby, we've got about 10 guests with us this evening from local business and industry, from the United States military, as well as higher education. For example, in higher education, we have Shippensburg University represented. We have Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology in Lancaster County. We have Messiah. Yeah, let's do that. We have Messiah University represented as well. Who should we talk to?
I think
Lucas,
we can talk to everyone. Go around.
just a little introduction to everybody. All right, we'll start here. Is it Staff Sergeant Ortiz
Yes, sir.
from the Army National Guard?
Pennsylvania Army National Guard. Yep.
Pennsylvania Army National Guard. Well, welcome to East Pennsboro. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
If you had anything to say to the audience at home, what might you say about the National Guard?
Yeah, for sure. So the juniors and seniors who are in East Penn right now, kind of navigating the stresses of high school and everything, what I would say to them is we have over 120 different job opportunities. So we have over 120 different ways to kind of branch off and make your own thing of what you want to make of the National Guard. On top of that, a lot of other colleges and school aid is here. We can help you pay for all that 100%. If that's something that factors into your costs of going to school. School doesn't have to bankrupt you for the rest of your life. Doesn't have to be super expensive. You can talk to me and we can help you pay for it. So
That's great. Well, that's great advice, and thank you for that information and for being here. We have Shippensburg University represented, though not at the table at the moment.
Just stepped out.
So let's move on down to the next table. Chris Hake is here from Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology in Lancaster County, a tremendous opportunity for students who want to pursue manufacturing and engineering careers in IT. Why should or would a student pursue Thaddeus Stevens?
So a couple different reasons is affordability. We have 24 different two-year associate degree paths, and our average starting salary that's been reported is around $57,000 in 2 years worth of education.
Awesome.
Yep.
And you double as a football coach at Thaddeus Stevens College.
Yep, I'm also the assistant head football coach. And fun fact, we know a special alumni.
Okay.
Do we not?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
All right. Well, thanks for being here this evening. We are live. Just tell me to bypass if you don't have any talking points prepared. I know you do. But we have math and social studies and health services and business and computers and information technology as well. Mr. Hake just talked about a fun fact. Lucas, fun fact at this table is that Mrs. Watring and Ms. Hawk are sisters and alumni or alumna of East Pennsboro area high school. And Ms. Watring, this is a 1963 yearbook of East Pennsboro High School. The school was built in 1958, first graduating class in 59. And look at that picture. And all of the cultural history of East Pennsboro. You had an uncle, did you say, in here?
Yes.
A relative?
Our uncle is. Where is he? Tom Fry, right there. That was our uncle, the youngest of our mom's brothers and sisters. So,
That's great.
yeah. And he was a police officer for the township for years.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So rich history here at East Pennsboro, and traditions and people as well. So, Mrs. Chandra, what do we have displayed here today?
So we have some stained glass projects here. These are called scale changes. So the Tower of London, we scale it down and they produced a little model here. Here we have students designing a state park. And here we were measuring the area of the plot of land.
This is great. Mrs. Chandra, I would ask in my high school math classes, when are we ever gonna need this?
So you can see we really do always need math, and it's all around us. We just don't realize it.
And it's fun, and it's engaging, and really applicable, either to various career fields or life in general.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're at the end of the lobby, approaching the cafeteria, and right next to the business department, we have the science department, English department, Family Consumer Science department, and our art department. You have caught Mrs. Schaefer eating on camera because Mr. Cornwell, one of the features of our program, has prepared, is it pumpkin bread?
Yes.
It tastes like pumpkin bread, and it was baked in a coffee can because 150 years ago, and I think Mr. Cornwell tells some Civil War era stories about soldiers cooking in the field or baking. Because of the lack of aluminum pans, people would bake in aluminum coffee cans. And I would vouch, Ms. Schaefer, I would vouch, maybe you would too. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It is.
Yeah, it's good. I'm probably going to get another piece.
All right. Very good. Anything about our art program that you would like to highlight?
I think our art courses are pretty self-explanatory. The name of the course is what you're going to get when you sign up for it. So we're switching the titles a little bit going into next year. We have a course called Drawing and Painting, which sounds new, but it'll be, you know, a lot of what we taught in our Art 1 courses. But you're going to focus a lot on drawing and painting. Sculpture, you'll focus on sculpture. Photo, you'll take a lot of photos. So it's pretty self-explanatory here in the art department. We make a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And you contribute so much to our school. One example is the coordinator of our school's yearbook.
That's a new one.
I think this is the first time this one's been open. What we found over on the social studies table is a 1963 yearbook from East Pennsboro Area High School. And was this last year's?
Yep.
And this is a tremendous undertaking that Mrs. Schaefer spearheads. She's here in the summer for a few days, for example, as seniors come in for their portraits. She organizes a year-long course for yearbook for select juniors and seniors, and really a tremendous effort, and this will live in perpetuity. So it's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Mr. Cornwell, we've been talking all about the pumpkin bread. We are live on TV. We don't know for sure that this is recording. We're crossing our fingers.
I hope.
This is all big experiment, kind of like your food experiments that go on. What do you have here? What do you have, Mr. Cornwell?
Well, we have this 150-year-old recipe, a pumpkin bread made in a coffee can, made fresh. It's warm, hot right now. So you take it out, tap it like in the bottom of a baby. Should come right out just like that if it's done right. So there's your sample right there. It's like a baby, right?
That's tremendous. And why the coffee can?
Well, that's what they didn't have any fancy cookware back then in the early 1900s, so they used coffee cans. It worked for them then and still works for us today, so why not?
Yeah, that's a unique food item for sure. Why is it special to you? There's a family lineage to this recipe?
Well, this was passed down through generation. I had the recipe. It was lost, though, from my mother, so I wanted to recreate it, which I did. I had to tweak it a little bit. And, you know, I watched my mother make this a lot when I was a little boy as I grew up, and that's why it's special. So if she was alive today, I don't know what she'd say, but
she'd be proud for sure. I know students love your classes and they enjoy eating the food. We love the samples sometimes that we get in the office, and it smells delicious. I hope when this is all said and done, there's some left over. Mrs. Keys, don't eat it all, please. We have our English department here. Stacy Keys is our department leader.
Books.
Well, books are great too. They truly are. Are there any points that students and families should recall and think about our English department?
We really try to stress that we are a department of communication. We want to teach our students how to communicate with the world, with each other, and how to understand others communicating with them. So we do a lot of work with rhetoric and why individuals use the words that they do. As you see here, English is the world of words.
Awesome. Powerful. Awesome. So,
Not as fun as pumpkin bread.
no, it is.
We have books, guys.
Without words, we could not describe the pumpkin bread.
That's true. That's a good one.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll close soon here, Lucas. We didn't hit the business table, and Mrs. Flagel, oh, she is there. Mrs. Flagel, if the families at home were going to consider elements of our business program, what might you tell them?
I would just tell them that business is kind of everything, so it does not hurt to take a couple of business classes if you're thinking about whatever career you're going into, if you ever want to be promoted within that career, if you ever want to open your own business, become an entrepreneur. All of these classes are excellent for somebody who has goals to start out on one level and continue to rise. So, yeah.
It's a #1 college major.
Definitely.
President Hoover, I'm going back a ways, said the chief business of the American people is business. And what I appreciate of what you said is everything can be found in the business department. It is where so many of our subjects and our lessons can be applied.
Absolutely, I agree. And again, just the idea that when you're thinking about a career, you're focused on that first step, getting out of college, get that first job, but then you've got 40 years ahead of you to think about where you want to go with that. And a lot of times that's where business acumen and business information can really come in handy.
Yeah, acumen's a great word. 40 years from now, that's you're coming full circle because we started our program tonight thinking about 40 years into the future, 2065. What will the world be like? Of course, nobody knows, but always trying to think about that, and your department is actively thinking about that as well. All right. Well, thank you. Lucas will conclude here in a moment, I guess. As our night winds down and many parents have exited, the remaining tables include our world language department. We offer Spanish and French languages. We have the state of Pennsylvania, specifically the governor's office here this evening. We will ask a little bit about what's available here at this table. What might you want to tell the folks at home?
So I'm a recruiter for the Commonwealth of PA, so we have jobs all across PA. So if you live in Philly, Pittsburgh, there's jobs there as well. So we have a ton of different opportunity. If you graduate high school and you don't want to do college, that's perfectly fine. One of our most popular is the clerical assistants that you can go and start working right out of high school and not have to get any sort of education. Now, if you do want to get education, a lot of our most popular ones are engineering, law, RNs, biologists, chemists. We also have trades. If you're going to want to go work with PennDOT, Department of Transportation, you can go work on our roads. So there's a ton of different opportunity. We also do still have a pension. It's half 401k, half pension. So it's not a full pension, but it's still, I always say, it always adds value. So I always say there's a job for everyone. We run the state, so definitely check us out because there's a ton of opportunity.
Well, thank you very much for being here. As we move down, Mr. David Heiser, nice to see you again. Thanks for being here. You were here yesterday. We had a really interesting conversation about the world of water, about Pennsylvania American Water. Can you tell us a little bit more about what this entails?
Yeah, so we are the single largest privately owned public utility company or public water company in the country. We have, I think it's 1,700 employees here in Pennsylvania. We offer a wide variety and range of careers requiring training anywhere between 4-year degrees, like I'm a civil engineer with the company, engineering project manager, down to high school diploma or GED, fresh out of high school. We offer a lot of great tuition reimbursement. We're actually starting some high school internship programs, which we were talking about earlier, to be able to get the high school students in over the summer, do some workshops, and also bringing them in as like co-op internship programs during the school day as well to work and start getting exposed.
Awesome. That's great. I learned a lot yesterday just from our conversation, and one of the best things we could do is perhaps get some students in touch with you and some internships and cooperative learning opportunities. There's so much to benefit from this field and others here tonight. We'll go to one more table because our battery on the camera.
Seconds, but you'd have to stall for a minute.
We'll use this battery and we'll adjourn and wrap up here. But the last table we'll visit is Messiah University, about 20 to 30 minutes away down Route 15. if you were to give a recruiting pitch, an elevator speech, why should a student consider Messiah University?
Oh, hey, good question. If you're looking at a college experience saying, hey, what do I want to do and how do I want to help people? I think that Messiah has a lot of high character.
That you have educators for tomorrow, engineers for tomorrow, and business. Oh, there you go.
Stand back here for me.
There you go. We have one student this year in this. Oh, we're back. All right. Lucas, that battery change was really quickly.
I dropped it.
We were just saying that among other elements of your school, the 3 series of courses are perhaps some of the most impactful. We have one student this year in the Engineers for Tomorrow program, which is a series of, 3 courses per semester?
That's right, yep.
And then Business Leaders of Tomorrow, and then Future Educators of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. These are great programs. You can get some college credit, but also really get to see, hey, what are these disciplines like? Am I ready to be a leader in business, in education, in engineering spaces? You get a head start for your peers for college credits, great college prep, and also you get to really see lab spaces and talk with professors even as a high school student. So highly recommend these programs. And even if you want to participate in the Emerging Health Professionals program as well, with a lot of other students in the county, that's a great one too that we're affiliated with.
And the learning is most beneficial and powerful, but also to take these courses at a reduced rate is a huge game changer for families. And I'll put a plug in for the Future Educators for Tomorrow series. This can be coupled with our in-house teacher internship program. So that's an example of how we're trying to merge our institutions really for the betterment of our students and of our families. So thank you very much for being here. That, as I watch several people eat the remainder of Mr. Cornwell's pumpkin bread, that signifies for me that I've got to wrap this up or else I won't get any pumpkin bread. And again, this is our first venture into a program like this, recording it live, later archiving it. I really appreciate you tuning in, and we'll continue to do this for the convenience of our families, to accommodate busy schedules, navigating different things, and look forward to seeing you again sometime in the future. Career, this was pretty fun. We have no idea if that recorded or not.